No one tells you how uncomfortable it feels the first time you realize you've been underpaid. Not just surprised, not just disappointed, but deeply uncomfortable. Because suddenly, all the times you stayed late, all the extra effort, all the loyalty, it starts to feel different. It starts to feel like you were giving more than you were ever meant to receive. I remember the exact moment it happened to me. It wasn't dramatic, no confrontation, no big reveal, just a quiet conversation with a coworker who mentioned their salary without thinking twice. And I smiled. I nodded. I acted normal. But inside, everything shifted because they were earning more than me, significantly more for the same work. And the hardest part wasn't the number. It was the realization that I had never even tried to negotiate. Because I didn't care, but because I didn't believe I was allowed to. I told myself stories that so many women tell themselves. I should just be grateful to have this job. I don't want to seem difficult. I don't want them to think I'm greedy. I don't want to risk losing this. So I stayed quiet. And that silence cost me more than money. It cost me confidence. It cost me peace. Because every time I opened my laptop, there was a quiet voice in the back of my mind whispering, "You settled." And here's the truth that took me years to understand. Negotiating isn't just about money. It's about self-respect. It's about deciding that your work has value and that value deserves to be acknowledged. Not someday, not when you've proven yourself enough, now. The reason negotiating feels so uncomfortable for women isn't because we're weak. It's because we've been conditioned to prioritize being liked over being respected. We've been taught to be agreeable, to be easy, to be grateful. But gratitude and self-respect are not opposites. You can be grateful for an opportunity and still ask to be paid fairly. You can appreciate your job and still refuse to undervalue yourself. And the most powerful shift happens when you stop seeing negotiation as confrontation and start seeing it as alignment. Alignment between your value and your compensation. Alignment between your effort and your stability. Alignment between your work and your life. Because this isn't about ego, it's about safety, financial safety, emotional safety. The safety of knowing you're not slowly draining yourself just to survive. The first time I negotiated, I was terrified. My heart was racing, my hands were shaking, not because I didn't know I deserved more, but because I wasn't used to advocating for myself. I had spent years advocating for everyone else, being reliable, being dependable, being the person who never asked for too much. But in that moment, I realized something. No one was going to do this for me. No one was going to walk in and say, "You deserve more. Here it is." I had to decide that first. So I prepared perfectly, not confidently, but honestly. I wrote down everything I had contributed, not to prove my worth to them, but to remind myself of it. Because the most important part of negotiating isn't convincing them, it's believing in yourself. When you believe you deserve fair compensation, your energy changes. Your voice becomes calmer. Your words become clearer. You stop asking from fear and start asking from truth. And here's something important no one talks about. Negotiating isn't about demanding, it's about communicating. It can sound as simple as, based on my contributions and responsibilities, I would like to discuss adjusting my compensation to reflect the value I bring. That's it. Not aggressive, not apologetic, just honest. And even if the answer isn't immediately yes, something still changes. You change because you stopped abandoning yourself. You stopped choosing comfort over alignment. You stopped reinforcing the belief that your needs were secondary. And that moment builds something powerful inside you: self trust. Because every time you advocate for yourself, you prove something. You prove that your voice matters, that your needs matter, that your stability matters. And this isn't just about this job, it's about your entire financial life. Because when you earn what you deserve, everything becomes easier. Saving becomes easier. Breathing becomes easier. Planning your future becomes easier. Not because money fixes everything, but because under earning quietly erodes your peace. And I want you to understand something deeply. you are not greedy for wanting stability. You are not difficult for wanting fairness. You are not ungrateful for wanting alignment. You are honoring your life. You are honoring your energy. You are honoring your future. And negotiating isn't the moment you become someone else. It's the moment you stop betraying yourself. Even if your voice shakes, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels unfamiliar, because discomfort is not danger, it's growth. And the women who build peaceful, stable, financially secure lives are not the loudest. They are the ones who stopped believing they had to settle. Ladies, you do not need permission to be paid fairly. You only need the decision that your work has value, the decision that your life deserves stability, the decision that you will no longer make yourself smaller to fit inside someone else's comfort. Because the moment you stop negotiating against yourself is the moment your entire financial life begins to change.